Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Dronks, and we're going to be playing Aeons End War Eternal today. I think I got the cover right over. Yeah. Aeons End War Eternal. And we're going to be going up against Hollow Crown with randomizers. So I tried him last time, and it was probably my quickest defeat I've ever had, period. Normal, expert, doesn't matter. So this guy's pretty cool. He only has one life. You don't actually attack him. He gets these little. He's basically a cult leader, and he gets little cultists. And the cultists have special abilities, and if you kill all the cultists, then you win. Essentially, that's how that works. When he unleashes, you resolve the blood magic effect of the acolyte with the highest life. If there's a tie for life, then both acolytes' abilities would activate. Hollow Crown cannot be dealt damage. When there are no acolytes at play at the end of the turn, players win the game. Acolyte is discarded. Place it in the discard pile and draw a new acolyte. When multiple blood effect magics would be resolved at the same time, resolve them in the order starting with the acolyte that has been played the longest. When a player is exhausted... Oh, I did that wrong last time. Gravehold suffers 4 damage instead of unleash twice. Resolve the rest of the on-exhaust effects. Okay, so it doesn't matter. I lost that game really badly. That wouldn't have made a difference. So we do start with 2 acolytes. I had already shuffled this. So we're going to start with Navkalis, 11 life. Blood magic, Gravehold suffers 3 damage, and then this minion suffers 1. And Solara, 11 life. Blood magic, any player discards 2 cards in hand, then this minion suffers 3 damage. Okay, those don't seem as dangerous as the 2 that I got last time. So I'm actually pretty happy with those. Alright, and then when playing with new mages, I haven't used these ones yet. Desmodia, the Voidborn Prodigy. And she starts with an Oblivion Shard. Right here, gain 2 Aether that cannot be used to gain a relic or a spell. So this is only used for purchasing gems or charges. Okay. And then her special ability, Tempest Sigil, costs 6. Any player destroys an opened 1 or 2 breach and returns any spells prepped to that breach to their hand. That player gains a sigil breach and places it where the destroyed breach was. Then that player may prep a spell from their hand to a breach. Okay. And I do have sigil breaches here. I'll pull those out, I guess. So that's kind of cool. So sigil breaches have a +2 damage on cast. So you can only use this in your first and second breaches. So I'll put these off to the side. So you can have potentially 2+2 breaches and 2+1s. So that's pretty cool. That could be really powerful with some of those spells that straddle 2 breaches. So you could have a +4 damage on one of those spells. All right. And that has a 6 charge cost. And her breaches, first is open, second at 4, third at 9, and fourth at 10. And then we're taking Maza Hadrian, Henge Mystic, special card, World Heart Shard, gain 1 Aether, so like a crystal, or gain 2 Aether that can be used to only be used to gain a card. Place the next card you gain this turn on top of any ally's discard pile. So you can gain 1 or 2, but if you gain 2, the next card you purchase will go to your ally instead of yourself. It could be useful. And then his special ability, Under Earth Mantra, you may gain a gem that costs 4 or less from any supply pile, and Gravehold gains 4 life. That's pretty cool. And it only costs 4 charges. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. And I'm playing with randomizers. So we're going to shuffle. Randomizer decks to see what cards we're playing with. Okay. And we got Bloodstone Jewel, 6 cost. When you gain a Bloodstone Jewel for the first time on your turn, gain 3 Aether. The limit gives 3 Aether as you play it. Breach Ore, 4 cost, gain 2 Aether, or focus your closed breach with the lowest focus cost. I like that one. And Frozen Magmite, haven't seen this yet. 3 cost, gain 2 Aether. You may place the next card you gain this turn on top of your deck. So that's pretty cool. I'm happy with the point costs as well. So let's get those out. I didn't shuffle all of these or organize them the way they're supposed to. Okay. So Frozen Magmite. Is it still on camera? Kind of. Alright, let me tilt that up just a little bit. Okay, that's better. Now we're going to do the relics. Karen Compass, 4 cost. An ally may prep a spell in their discard pile to their open or closed breaches. And Primordial Fetish, focus any player's breach, destroy this, gain 3 life. Okay. Already had him on top. There we go, Karen Compass. Alright, and now our spells. I don't love having 2 relics that are the same cost. Probably won't use Karen Compass, would be my guess. I don't know, we'll see. Hope everybody's doing well, hope you're enjoying. Something I did notice when I was shuffling for the Nemesis deck for this game, the way I would shuffle for setting it up is after all the tier 3 cards go in there, right? But for tier 2, you use 5 cards plus the 3 specific to the Nemesis. That's how I shuffle for Aeons on 2nd edition. There were 7 total tier 2, so I'd shuffle the 7 and then I would just take 2 off the top and discard those and then add the rest into the pile with the 3 specific ones. But in War Eternal, there's actually 8. So if you do that, you're going to end, if you shuffle that way that I was used to, you would end up with an extra tier 2 card in the Nemesis deck. So if you do it by discarding 2, you should actually discard 3 with the War Eternal. And then there's 8 tier 1s, and you take 3 and discard 5. Same as 2nd edition. So it's a little odd that it shifted that way. But I just thought I'd bring that up in case somebody else does it the same way I used to and didn't notice. All right, 4 cards. We're going to get Kindle, 4 cost. While prepped during your main phase, you may also prep 1 spark to the breach this spell is prepped to. Cast deal 3 damage. That's kind of cool. Conjure the Lost, 6 cost. Deal 5 damage. You may destroy this. If you do, Grateful gains 4 life. Carbonize, 4 cost. Deal 3 damage. Reveal the top card of the turn order deck. You may place that card on the bottom of the turn order deck. And Thought Form Familiar, 3 cost. Cast, deal 2 damage. Do 1 additional damage for each of your other prep spells. Okay. So those are okay. There's just not a real high damage in there. except for Carbonize, or I'm sorry, Conjure the Lost is kind of your hard damage spell, but you may end up destroying these. So it's a little unfortunate that there isn't something else that is a higher damage spell. But I'm not disappointed with these options. I feel like they're pretty good overall. So okay, so we got all that set up. Give me 1 second to grab a drink and I'll get started. Drinking a little bubbly. It's not a beer. I have to drink something while I record these videos because I narrate so much that my throat gets really, really dry just from all the talking. And I generally shoot these back to back as well. Okay, let's get started. I'm just going to call him Mazza because his name's too tough. All right, he's going to start first, and he's going to pay 3 Aether to open his second breach and prep both of these sparks. His next hand is 4 sparks, or 4 crystals and a spark. Nemesis gets to go. These activate on unleashes. So we just draw. Enslave. Resolve the blood magic effect of each acolyte in play without those acolytes suffering damage for their blood magic effect, okay? So Greyfold's going to take 3 damage. Drop us to 27. And any player discards 2 cards. I will have Mazza discard a spark and a crystal. Okay, Desmodia. She has 4 Aether, as long as she doesn't... Yeah, so she'll use the 4 to open her second breach and prep 2 sparks. So they both have their first 2 breaches open. So that's pretty cool. I like it when they just are able to have 2 breaches after the first activation. All right, and then Desmodia gets to go again. She's going to cast 1 spark to do 1 damage to Navkalis. Actually, I take that back to Solara. Then she's going to prep a spark. And then for 4, she's going to purchase a breach ore. Nemesis gets to go. Draw a card, unleash. So because Solara took 1 damage, it only does Navkalis' blood magic. So Greyfold suffers 3 damage, brings us down to 24, but then Navkalis suffers 1 damage. And then it says, reveal the top card of the turn order deck is a player card. So that player suffers 2 damage. So Mazza is going to take 2 damage. Brings him to 8 life. And then it is Mazza's turn. He's going to cast 1 spark to Solara. I don't need to cast both. I just wanted to get them to not have the same life again. And then he's going to purchase a frozen Magmite. Definitely feel like Hollow Crown is going to be a tough boss. He's also super minion heavy, obviously. I believe there's 11 cultists, and they each have 11 life. So that's 120 Right? 121 life. Plus other minions. Whatever other minions are in the deck. I know he has at least one unique minion that's a tier 1. Most Nemesises do. But I saw him last game. Alright, we do get Maza again. He's going to prep Spark. And then he gets 4 or 5 if he wants to give it to ally. So for 4, he'll just take a Breach Ore. So one of the problems with this is you really do need to kind of do some damage quickly. I mean, I guess they don't have persistent effects, but yeah. You have to keep them off balance for life, I feel like. Okay. All right. We will cast 1 Spark. 1 damage to Solara. Prep a Spark. We will use Breach Ore to focus her 3rd Breach. And then she will spend 4. Kindle. She gets to go again. We'll cast 1 Spark on Solara. Prep, and she will spend 4 on a Breach Ore. Nemesis' turn. Place the Acolyte in play with the lowest life on the bottom of the Acolyte deck. So Solara gets to retreat to the bottom of the deck, and I'll have to face her again later. And then draw a new Acolyte, and then unleash. Now luckily, Nafkalis is taking 1 damage too. So she activates, but he doesn't. The player with the lowest life suffers 1 damage. So that's Maza is going to take 1 damage. That brings him down to 7. Now we get Maza's turn. He's going to cast Spark and hit Nafkalis. Bring him down to 9. He's got Prep Spark. And then he has 5 Aether. There's not a ton of things for 5. So he will take a Frozen Magmite and a charge. Nemesis. Okay, Throne Watch. Minion. Persistent, resolve the blood magic effect with the Acolyte with the lowest life. The Acolyte then suffers 1 damage. That's the end of round 2. I find it helps a lot to keep track of the rounds. I'm not particularly good at it. But the first 3 rounds are your tier 1 cards. And then rounds 4, and then there's 4 tier 2 rounds. Is that correct? 5, yeah. So total of 7 rounds that you have until you hit tier 3 cards. So on expert difficulty, once you hit tier 3, it's like you kind of need to have the game in the bag. At the very least, you're not really buying cards anymore once you hit tier 3. So I try to get my economy set up in the first 3 rounds. Buy as many gems as possible. Sometimes I get a relic or spells in there, depending what situation is, but I try to get my economy mostly squared away by the end of the third round. And then 4th to 7th round, that's when you get your relics and your spells and really get your offense going. And by the time you get to the 8th round, you're buying charges for your special abilities. And there's 13 rounds total. If you survive the 13th round, you win the game. But typically the game will be over by the 8th round. All right, Maz's turn. He doesn't have to cast anything. I will take the 6 and buy a Bloodstone Jewel. And because it's my first time gaining it, I also will gain a Frozen Magmite. For 6. Nemesis' turn, so Throne Watch is going to activate, which means Navkalis. Okay, so the way I read this, resolve the blood magic effect, Acolyte, so that's Navkalis, so he's going to do 3 damage to Gravehold, brings it to 21. Then he suffers 1 damage, and then he suffers 1 damage from Throne Watch's ability. So that brings him from 9 to 7. And then I draw a card. Unleash. The players collectively discard 2 cards in hand. So Unleash is going to activate Lurzon. Player with the lowest life suffers 1 damage. So Maza is going to take 1 damage, and that drops him to 6. And then collectively discard 2 cards. So I will discard this Spark. And Kindle. The reason I did that is because they both have 6 available. So for 6, I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to buy a Bloodstone Jewel, which gives me 3 to buy a Frozen Magmite. Oh, and I forgot about its special ability. You may place the next card you gain this turn on top of your deck. So both of these, boom, because I had 2. Forgot about that. So, underpowering myself. Look at that. So that's 11 Aether right there. So his economy is now set. Desmodia, she's going to pull that same maneuver. 2, 4, 5, 6. She's going to buy a Bloodstone Jewel, which gives her access to Frozen Magmite. She doesn't have a Magmite, so that didn't activate. But yeah. Okay, Throne Watch activates. So that means Navkalis is going to do 3 damage to Gravehold again. Brings us to 18. And then he suffers 1 damage from his blood magic, and then 1 damage from Throne Watch. And then we draw, Afflict, Unleash. Any player suffers 3 damage and may place a card in their discard pile in their hand. I'm just going to have Desmodia take that damage. I don't have a healing ability right now, other than Primordial Fetish Destructions, which I don't have any of. This is supposed to be in that pile. Okay, Desmodium. She'll cast Spark. Do 1 damage to turn watch. She'll cast both Sparks. Actually, let's drop them to 4. Prep 1. She's going to use Breach Ore, focus that 3rd breach, and then purchase a Magmite. So her economy is not quite as set up as well as Maz's, but that's okay. She also had a spell. He does not. So Kindle makes more sense for her, because if I use her special ability to change those breaches out, she can use Kindle on Sigil Breach, and that Kindle becomes a 5 damage spell, and I can plug a Spark on it too, and that becomes a 3 damage. Just not too shabby. Okay, she does get to go again. I will cast Spark. Do 1. Prep Kindle. And then this is worth 3, 4, up, 3, 5, 6, 8. So I will do that little trick one last time. I'll purchase the Bloodstone Jewel, which gives me an additional 3. And the Bloodstone Jewel will actually go on top because of the Frozen Magmite. And I purchase the Frozen Magmite, and then I'll use a Breach Ore to focus that 3rd breach. And I am now done with her economy. She gets to go again. I will cast Kindle. It will do 3 damage, killing the Throne Watch. I will prep Spark, and I generate 3, 5, plus 2 that cannot be used on a relic or a spell. So I will take another Kindle, and then I'll use Oblivion Shard to purchase a charge. Slightly inefficient. I wasted 1 Aether. Alright, Nemesis is going to go. And we draw Mage Ender. Tier 2 basic card. 9 life minion. Player with the most open breaches suffers 2 damage. Okay. So this is worth 4, 10, 11 Aether. Wish I had one more. Oh, no, that's all right. Okay, so I will take, for 11, I will take a Primordial Fetish, a Carbonize, and a Thought Form Familiar. He gets to go again. And I will use Breach Ore to focus his third breach. And then I will use 4 to purchase a Primordial Fetish. I feel good about this so far. All right, player with the most open breaches suffers 2 damage. I can choose who that is, and I will take Maza, and he will drop to 4 life. And that's the Mage Ender ability. And then we get Mutilate, Unleash. Unleash is going to activate Lurzon, so Maza takes 1 damage again. Down to 3. The players collectively discard 2 prep spells. Okay, I'll just have them each do 1. Any player suffers 2 damage. I will have Desmodia take that, so she's at 5. Maza is at 3. I feel okay. Economy's great. Healing's kind of an issue. And I'm very light on spells. So I need to really focus my economy on spells. Luckily, the good thing is, although you destroy Conjure the Lost to heal Gravefold, his special ability also heals Gravefold, so I don't have to rely on that. Alright, we do get Desmodia. Yeah. And she's got 4 Aether and a Focus or 6. So for 6, she's going to take a Conjure the Lost. Unfortunately, I do not have any deck curation in this setup. No ability to destroy cards. So that's going to make it difficult. There's just no way around that. I'm going to prep a Spark. And that is worth 4, 6, 8. Oop. Alright, is that good? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. And she will take another Conjure the Lost with opening her 3rd breach. So what I would like to do is split the Conjure the Lost 3 and 2, however that works out. I'd like to give Desmodia all the Kindles and Maza all the Carbonizes. And then whoever can grab the Thought Forms. Nemesis' turn. Mage Ender activates. And Desmodia takes 2 damage. So they're both my mages are now at 3 life. It's not good. Apothic Sun. Power 2, Unleash. The player with the most charges suffers 3 damage and loses all of their charges. To discard, spend 7 Aether. Okay. We will prep Spark. And then he generates 6 and buys Conjure the Lost. So I've been able to purchase a good amount of spells. I just don't have any deck curation. It's a real problem. Okay, he gets to go again. He's going to cast both Sparks on the Mage Ender. Brings him down to 7 life. And he preps Carbonize, Thought Form Familiar. And then he's going to destroy Primordial Fetish to heal himself 3. It's a shame doing that so early, but it is what it is. And then for 6, he will buy a Conjure the Lost. Nemesis' turn. Player with the most open breaches suffers 2 damage. Maz is going to tank that. Take a token off of Hothic Sun. And we get Ascend, Unleash. The Acolyte with the lowest life gains 10 life. Well, first let's Unleash. Okay. So, Navkalis activates. Grave does 3 damage to Gravehold. And then he takes 1 damage, brings him to 4. But then he heals with the second ability of this effect. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. He doesn't activate. Lurzon activates. The player with the lowest life suffers 1 damage. So Gravehold goes back up to 18. Desmodia loses 1 life. She goes down to 2. Then Navkalis heals and activates. And does 3 damage to Gravehold. And then he suffers 1 damage. So basically, I have not killed a single Acolyte yet, and they're basically both full life. And I have to grab another drink real quick. So I don't feel super bad. I feel like I'm going to be able to heal. Their economy is great, so I'm able to buy the cards I want. You don't need to have deck curation where you eliminate every single one of your starting cards, but it really helps to be able to get rid of like 3 or 4 of them over the course of the game and just loosen that a little bit. I mean, look how thick these decks already are. Because yeah, you can get those really good spells, but you know, if you get 2 Conjure the Lost, but you need 8 activations, 9 activations to get them both up. How much good are they really doing? So that's hurting me a little bit. I didn't get much firepower early. And now that my deck size is a little large, it's going to be hard for me to get that now. So the only thing I can really do is not purchase gems, not purchase relics, and really just focus on filling out that deck with spells and go with quantity over quality. Okay, we do get Maz's turn. We will cast Thoughtform Familiar. That's going to do 3 damage. And then Carbonize will also do 3 damage. For a total of 6 to the Mage Ender, leaving him with 1 life. Carbonize allows me to reveal the top card. It's a 1. We're going to leave that. But again, there's nothing else in his deck. So I will use Primordial... I will use Primordial Fetish and Breach Ore to double focus and open up that 3rd breach. And then for 5 Aether, I will buy a Thoughtform Familiar as well as a charge. So like this is an example. This is 5 starting cards. It's a complete waste of a round. Or a turn. Alright, Desmodia. She's going to cast Spark and kill Mage Ender. Okay. She will then prep 2 Kindles. And then she will buy a Thoughtful Familiar and a charge. Cannot get rid of Apothic Sun, unfortunately. She does get to go again. I'll prep Spark to a 3rd breach. I will have cast this Spark. Do 1 damage to Nafkal. No. Damn. Yeah, I'll cast Spark and this Kindle to do 4 damage to Lurzon, leaving her with 7. I'll then prep a Conjure the Lost, and then I generate 5, which is enough for another Kindle. Prep Spark. Still not enough for the Apothic Sun. 3, 4 for a Carbonize. Nemesis' turn. Apothic Sun activates. Unleash. Okay. So Nafkalis activates, does 3 damage to Gravehold, brings us to 12, and then he takes 1 damage, which drops him to 9. Player with the most, then Maza is going to take 3 damage and loses both of his charges from the Apothic Sun. And then we resolve the blood magic effect of the Alkalite with the most life, which would be Nafkalis. So he does 3 more damage to Gravehold, brings us to 9. Then he suffers 6 damage. Oh, and he loses 1. Then he suffers 6. That brings him to 2. And then Unleash twice. So the player with the lowest life suffers 1 damage. That's Maza. He becomes exhausted. So his first breach becomes destroyed, loses his charges, and then Gravehold takes 4 damage, brings us down to 5. That would be that. And then Desmodia takes 1 damage from the second Unleash here. So pretty brutal. I only have 1 life left. So I'm about to lose this one too. Double activation. And we get Null Scion, 11 life, Persistent Unleash. Not looking good. Not at all. I don't know. I don't know how I misplayed this one necessarily. I'm still trying to figure out Holocrown. He's kind of tricky. I've only seen 4 or 5 of the 11 Acolytes, so I don't know what their focus is. I mean, doing that, they damage players, they damage Gravehold. Okay, great, but like eliminating them doesn't solve the problem. Killing them, you know, you can't use offense defensively, because by killing one, you just bring another one out that's gonna do the same thing, I'm guessing. I mean, you basically can't not have these minions in play. So you got to prevent unleashes, but there's a lot of cards that just unleash. You don't have the ability to cancel them. I don't know. I don't know the answers. Maybe a lot of healing. You know, somebody like Maza might be really good to heal Gravehold. With the Primordial Fetish might be a really good combo. But then a different character like Eligor, who I used in my first game, who can heal, tank and heal himself. That might be a really good way to do it. I don't know. All right, we do get Desmodia. She does have a decent amount of damage on deck, so that's worth 4. This is worth 2, so that's 6. Conjure Loss is worth 5, so I will cast all 3 and kill the Null Scion. That's 11. Yeah. And then we will prep a Conjure the Lost. And then this is worth 4, 6. And she will buy the last Conjure the Lost. No. Damn it. She will not. She will buy Primordial Fetish and a charge. So it's her only way of healing, and she doesn't have it. Alright. Mazza's gonna go. He will cast 2 damage Spark, and he will kill Navkalis. So I finally discarded one. But now another draws out, and we get Idris Trag. Any player suffers 2 damage. Then if that player has 5 life or less, this minion suffers 2. So that's what I'm saying. So now I have the choice between taking 1 damage or taking 2. That doesn't help me. But yeah. Prep Conjure the Lost. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. He'll buy the last Conjure the Lost. Nemesis's turn. Infernal Domain, Power 2, draw an Acolyte. Resolve the blood magic effect of each Acolyte in play without those Acolytes suffering damage from their blood magic effects. So that would bring out 3, and it would stay 3 under my reading of the rules, because whenever one gets discarded, another one gets brought out. So that's crazy dangerous. Like, to me, that should be a tier 3 card. Yeah, because you get 3 blood magic effects activating and 3 staying in play for the rest of the game. So, I don't know. Mazza's going to activate with Conjure the Lost. He will cast that for 6 on Lurzon. Try to get her out of there. If she activates, I die. I lose the game. With her, I can at least tank the damage in Gravefold for 1 activation. And then we're going to prep Conjure the Lost and a Spark. And then he generates 6, which is enough for Carbonize and a charge. I have to hold on to 1 Spark. So I draw 4. Okay, we get I guess I will cast Conjure the Lost for 6 on Trag. Prep Spark. And this is worth 3, 4, 6, 8. Cool. Now I'll use 8 to cancel Infernal Domain. Chaos Flail, Power 2, unleash twice. Any player places their discard pile on top of their deck, shuffles it, then reveals the top 2 cards and destroys the most expensive card revealed. Discard 7 Aether. Take a token off of Chaos Flail, and we draw. Resolve the blood magic effect of each Acolyte in play without those Acolytes suffering damage. Repeat this 1 additional time. So that's a game over. This can attack Mazza as the first one, because I can choose. And so instead that's going to do 4 damage to Gravefold, dropping it to 1. And then this minion, oh no, he doesn't take damage because of that. And then Lurzon activates, and that kills Desmodia. And that's it. That's game over. So that went significantly better than the first game. I at least got an Alkali out of play. But this is a tough one. I think this is just a tough setup to be doing. And increased difficulty is very hard on him too. I just think this is probably one of the tougher nemesises to defeat using randomizers. I think you need to play defensively. You're gonna take a lot of damage. Gravehold's gonna take a lot of damage. I mean, they can't get much tighter than that. He got exhausted. She got exhausted, and Gravehold got down to 1 life. And there wasn't really a whole lot I could do to prevent any of that. So, I think Maz's probably pretty good. If I was picking my own mages, which I can do, I haven't played as them yet, so I'm checking them all out. I would probably go with something like Olmagor and Maza. So that way this guy tanks all your damage. You choose him to take all your hits, and then he uses his special ability to heal himself, and then Maza uses his special ability to heal Gravehold. So that would buy you the time you need to get towards the mid-late game. I forgot what round we're on, but, well, let's see. Tier 3. So that was the first Tier 3 card. Yeah, Dominate. So that was the beginning of round 8. That was the first card of round 8. Boom, done. So I was not... You need to be... I always talk about, like, there's kind of this curve, like there's this center line where if you're ahead of it, if you're in control of the match, by this point in the game, the first draw of your Tier 3 card of round 8, you can win. If you're behind and you've been playing catch up in rounds 4 through 7, like I was, you're not going to do well. You know, and usually what that means is clearing the board. If you're consistently canceling the attacks and powers, and you're clearing out minions before their abilities activate, you're generally going to be in a good position where you have lots of life, you have good cards. But if they're consistently damaging you and you're struggling to get those cards off the board, if the powers are all activating on you, you're probably going to lose the game. That's generally how it works. So, yeah, that would be my suggestion. But because I haven't used all the mages and stuff, I will be using in my next attempt. So this is my second attempt, by the way. I'll be using Mist and Quillis because I haven't used either of these two yet in my next attempt. And we'll see how that goes with more random cards. All right, guys. Love you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.